I'll give you medicine. Come sit. Atira was suddenly slumped on the ground and her body stiff. It was an episode of epilepsy. It had not reoccurred for 13 years and suddenly started coming back.
Okay. Now stand up. Why lonely? Don't go like that. Right, up. As parents, we are also getting older. That's where our two elder children is taking some responsibility in taking care of the twins.
We know from the latest paper in 2021 that 60% of individuals with Pura syndrome will develop seizures, and they tend to develop at up till the age of 18 years. Jayden is turning 18 next year. It's important for his parents to be aware of this risk.
Hello.
How's Atira now?
So she was admitted at CGH. She was there for around 3 days. She was very tired for a few days after that.
The seizures itself, was it just one episode that was long or many episodes?
It was one episode that was long,
Okay, and how long did it go?
around 15 minutes total.
Okay. And did you have to give the rectal as well?
Yeah, the rectal I inserted at around 6 minutes.
Okay.
Then at 9 minutes, the jerks actually went a bit more stronger. That was when we called the ambulance.
But then by the time she reached Changi, the seizures had stopped? Or?
Yeah, 15 minutes it had stopped.
Perfect.
She was off medication for 13 years.
And then now she started again.
Yeah.
So we know that children who have Jamor syndrome are at risk of seizures, and in the patients that we had reported, many of them had severe seizures, which started off when they were babies and persisted on. For Atira, she was relatively well, but for some reason her seizures have come back. We don't fully understand why, and now we just have to take a step back, start her on the medication, and then see how she goes.
We are traveling.
Next one will be traveling.
Okay, where are you going?
We're going back to hometown.
Okay, and how long are you gone for?
Almost a month, doctor.
So
It's
can
usually
manage
okay.
here.
They're relatively well, but the risk is again, with any stressor, the seizure happens. Just make sure that the rectal diazepam is with you.
Okay.
Bring it on the plane because you don't want her to be seizing on the plane.
We are going to KK Hospital to see Dr. Lai, the genetic doctor. This is an annual visit. Dr. Lai will be checking on his development.
Jayden, stand up.
Since last visit, Jayden has been progressing well. He is able to actually walk further without assistance. He's starting to explore more on fine motor skill as well.
So for example, things such as like a TV remote, he's able to control it. One morning we woke up, he switched on the TV by himself.
Jayden is 17 this year. We like to check up with Dr. Lai. Does KK still see such special kids after the age of 18? If not, then what is the next step of follow-up for him? And then recently we observed that during feeding time, Jayden has been having those kind of very uncontrolled eye movement quite a lot. So we wanted to actually check with Dr. Lai whether is there anything that we need to pay special attention on that aspect. Jayden, doctor going to check on you, okay?
Yeah, let's walk a bit.
Yeah, very good. Okay, come.
Good job. Good job, Jayden. You're walking so much better. Okay, you want to sit down now?
Sit
You
down.
can
You want to sit down here?
Okay.
Okay. Jayden's always progressing. He is walking around on his own, which many other patients with Pura syndrome actually still can't do. How is he otherwise?
We realized that there's some behavior during feeding time. He has this uncontrolled eye movement.
Oh, okay.
We wanted to check whether is it a, what do we call that?
A seizure?
A seizure. Is it a seizure?
It doesn't look very typically like
Yeah.
a seizure.
Yeah.
However, because you know that children with Pura syndrome, they have a higher risk of seizures.
Yeah.
So it would be safer, I think, to let his neuro doctor know about it. Maybe just do a EEG test just to see whether it is really seizures or not.
All right.
So there was just one recent paper talking about epilepsy in children with Pura syndrome, and they said that about 60% of them have seizures.
Yes.
And the age group, some of them started only when they were around 18. So I think it's something that we just need to keep an eye out for, which is why we also refer back to the neurologist about the eye twitching and eye movement. The usual type of seizures is the type, where they have jerking of all four limbs, and they usually will lose consciousness.
I see.
So in the event that you observe such movements in Jayden, it's important to put him down on a flat surface.
Right.
Turn him to the side. During the fit, actually, they are not breathing because their body is in the spasm. So the positioning is the most important.
Okay.
So you allow the airway to remain open and not blocked by the tongue during
Okay.
the seizure.
Okay.
When Dr. Lai shares the information about Pura kids having seizure on the age of 18 onwards, I was actually shocked. He's already very near to the age group.
We are concerned about this rapid eye movement. It could be an onset to seizure.
So from now on, we have to be prepared for seizure to occur, and then to make sure that the place around him is safe, so that he don't land himself up in a situation where he get hurt.
Jayden is going to be 18 next year, so there will be big change in his medical care as well.
Dzakwan, look. Look here. Press. Press. When I was younger, I had always thought that it would just be me, my older brother, and my parents. Instead, I had two baby brothers, twins. Their names are Dzakir and Dzakwan. And then turning 15. When I had my documentary module in Poly, I saw it as a chance to tell my brother's story, because I think it's not really talked about as much as other conditions. It was also a chance for me to tell my mom's story. This is my mom, Nora. She has been taking care of them ever since they were born. Despite all that, before making the docu, me and my mom, we didn't really talk about how she took care of Dzakir Dzakwan. I was quite young when Dzakir Dzakwan were born. We're only 4 years apart, so I wasn't aware of what was going on. When I was younger, I remember seeing my parents bringing Dzakir Dzakwan to the hospital a lot. I didn't realize that it was unusual. I thought it was normal for children to be brought to the hospital. I think I had the realization that Dzakir Dzakwan had special needs when they were 7. Other children would go to primary school, like primary 1, but Dzakir Dzakwan, they still couldn't talk and they still couldn't recognize any alphabets. My mom doesn't really show her emotions in front of me. She doesn't like to show us her weakness. She doesn't really let it show that it's affecting her. Though I know it must be very mentally draining for her as well. I think the documentary made me more aware about what my mom went through.
Dzakir and Dzakwan, don't worry. Even if Ma is not around, you still have your brother and your sister. Inshallah, we will meet in Jannah together. And by then, I hope to hear you call me, Ma.
When they were 7, it was also when I realized that my older brother and I would have to take care of them in the future. At that point of time, it was also when my sense of responsibility kicked in, I guess. Like, I became more protective about them. Sometimes I'll think that, oh, what if I have the gene in me too? I think if there could be an answer about the condition, it will also better prepare me if I want to have children and whether it will affect them.
So we are going to India, back hometown to Mangalore. Come Terry, let's book our tickets.
Traveling to India is always exciting for us because that is the time children bond with the grandparents and the other relatives, their cousins especially.
The last time that we traveled to India was in 2019.
Atira responds much better now than what she did in 2019. Seana too, she's more verbal now.
And I'm sure now they will bond better with their relatives because they're able to probably show that affection, talk to them better. We moved to Singapore in 2010, and prior to that we used to live in India. Back in India, the social acceptance is not great. There are some instances where our children were not accepted in the play area.
As Atira could not walk back then, Atira used to pull her butt on the floor to move. There was a parent who was trying to avoid bringing her child to the playground when Atira was around.
So seeing our children not being welcomed, we were feeling that pain.
We always received unsolicited advice from many people.
There were instances where we were blamed. For us, it always adds stress to what we were already going through. In 2019, there was no diagnosis for their condition. Now that we have the diagnosis, we want to tell our parents about it.
On video calls, we have shared to our parents about this research, but this is a good opportunity for us to talk in person to them and explain to them more in detail about the diagnosis. Atira and Seana have been diagnosed with Jamuar syndrome, and missing gene is the cause of the condition. My husband and I have not passed on this gene to our children.
So while we are excited to meet family, we are also a little anxious that we are revealing this diagnosis to them.
Jayden is 17 this year, then going to 18 next year. So I understand KK Hospital usually sees children which is below 18 years. So then what is next in plan for Jayden?
Usually we'll slowly transition to the adult care. It won't be immediate. We will actually reach out to a colleague in the adult hospital who is comfortable taking care and familiar with the conditions for adult with Pura syndrome. We will also share Jayden's medical summary with them so that they at least know from the early years until now what his medical conditions is to help with the care after that.
Sure.
The transition, there's no fixed period.
Okay.
If you still feel more comfortable coming back just to check in with us, we can continue that overlap period. But at least there will be doctors in the adult healthcare institution who know about Jayden's condition and can help if emergency or other specialties are needed.
We would like to also obviously continue to see and monitor new developments in this, or perhaps look at maybe in the future, maybe there's a treatment plan for him.
Yes, so because it's so rare, and you know Jayden is only one of 2 patients in Singapore with Pura syndrome, it's also good for us to continue to see him so that we can update you about any new research.
Yeah, that would be good.
Because Pura syndrome is quite recently diagnosed, we don't really know what's the long-term prognosis. Jayden might be one of the older ones that have been diagnosed. So I think in that sense, the long-term outlook is uncertain. However, looking at Jayden himself, he has already shown great progress and he is able to participate in all his family's activities very richly and I think happily. And I hope that he will continue to be able to do that.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you so
Lan.
much.
I got a lot of new information this visit. Now that we know that Dr. Lai may not be Jayden's main doctors in the next few years, there are uncertainty also with regards to how soon my son will be able to adapt to the new doctor. The other part, of course, is because Pura syndrome is a very, very new, rare disease. We hope that the other doctor in the other clinic or hospital side will also be up to date in terms of information.
There's now more knowledge to be able to handle the transition going forward. But the fear for him is who's going to take care of him, how is he going to take care of himself when we are no longer around, right?
Come, chill, Jayden, chill. Ever since young, we've always been sharing rooms, like the four of us. Jayden will be the one using it to sleep most of the time, since he will always take like at least one afternoon nap and then sleep very early. That means that sometimes we can't go into that room unless we're sure that we want to rest. Sometimes he also likes to wake up in the middle of the night and then he just goes out. We have to bring him back to sleep because if we don't take care of him, who knows what he will do. It's very, very complicated having to carry him back to his bed as well and then try to like pat him to sleep. Initially we thought that because he wouldn't be like well adapted to sleeping by himself because he's so used to us sleeping with him. But since we moved in, Jayden has actually slept quite well and he's fine with sleeping on his own. He hasn't wandered out at night at all so far. Finally, we can sleep. It's still like taking some time to adapt, but so far he's liking the space. He's more comfortable than our older house. Now that he has his own room, we have seen more instances of him just playing in that room by himself.
You like sensory stuff?
We currently have like different coloured lights that are installed in the house that can change with a press of a switch, and sometimes you use these lights to help entertain him.
Like the choo-choo train. He likes the choo-choo train.
We are essentially his source of entertainment, yeah. But I wouldn't say that our job is to be an entertainer. I think our job is just to be a sibling, just show care. Yeah. Now we try to help him with chores such as like feeding him and stuff.
We did actually tell our children, our girls, that Jayden is part of their life, part of their responsibility when we are no longer around. Yeah, so that was also the decision to have more children, because we don't want just one to actually shoulder the entire caregiving burden. I'll be glad if he can actually lead a life with the siblings' supervision over him with the help of a caregiver.
Seana, you're going to help Mama?
Okay, let's pack.
Back, yes. We are going to travel tomorrow. Early morning is our flight to Mangalore. A few weeks back, Atira had an episode of epilepsy. She was admitted at CGH. Because of the recent episode that Atira had, we are a bit concerned because we do not want Atira to get any epileptic attack during the travel. Since then, the doctor has put Atira back on the epilepsy medication. The doctor has also prescribed emergency suppositories, which we need to administer to Atira in case of any epileptic attack, which is more than 5 minutes. So this is the suppository that is to be administered. We have to lay the child in the right position, open the tube here and then insert it gently into the rectum and then squeeze it. But in an airport or in an aircraft, it's going to be quite challenging.
I didn't have a very smooth pregnancy when I was with Dzakir and Dzakwan. I was like vomiting almost every day. I couldn't even drink plain water. I couldn't take any of the medication that was given either. It made me wonder if that could be one of the reasons why Dzakir and Dzakwan turned out to be like this. Was it because I didn't take care of myself during my pregnancy?
I've always been working since they were born. So I feel that I could have done more if I had been there with them at home. There's always this guilt of not doing as much as you could. Today we have an appointment with Dr. Tan. We want to get some updates on the research that she has done.
We've had a few tests before. Blood samples were taken from us and also from our other children. So far, there's nothing new that they have found.
Hello. You want to sit down or you want to walk around? Hi.
Dr. Tan has been the principal doctor for both of them since they were 1 year old. She sees the development of the twins, both physically, intellectually, and of course find out the underlying cause of their conditions.
There are a few discoveries that we wanted to share with you. We have been doing many tests over the years, and every time we do, there has not been any reason that we could find for their condition. The last round, we actually used a new technology to look at the genes, the areas that we couldn't see previously. I think this time we really do have an answer.
Right now, we're trying to see whether we can take care of Jayden on our own. Part of me wants to go overseas to study, but then there's also the thing at the back of my head, which is to take into consideration Jayden's needs.
All these years, you have been very patient, and I think it finally is paying off.
Actually, I'm not sure how I feel about this new finding.
We've actually landed in Mangalore, our hometown, and this trip we are planning to tell our parents the final diagnosis for Atira and Seana. So today, Suman and me wanted to reveal what has happened on the research that is done in Singapore.